Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Section 214 of BC Lions podcast. I'm your host, Ascent, and I'm here with my co-host, JS, once again. And feels like deja vu. We've been here before, right?
Yep.
It's just, it's like the plot to Groundhog Day, and it just feels like you're being woken up by the chair thung on the alarm, and it just the Bombers beat the Lions. The Bombers beat the Lions, and we're sick of it, and we're happy that it's over with. That's it for Bombers games. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Well,
Uh,
we're gonna have to get through them at some point. If we want to win the championship, we're going to have to get through them at some point. I think that's inevitable. Whether it be in the Western Final or the Grey Cup, we're going to have to get through them at some point.
yeah, it's just, they just feel like the sword of Damocles just hanging over most of the league, right? Except for Eastern teams at times, but it's just the West is just it's a bit crowded up at the top, and then there's us, and then there's 50 piles of crap, and then there's Edmonton, and the quote Moneyball, right? uh, yeah. So we're recording this a little late, but the reason why we're recording this a little late because we were watching a little bit of the end of the Calder Cup between the Abbotsford Canucks and the Charlotte Checkers. So that's
Heartbreaking loss there. I was really looking forward to being able to start our show with congratulating them on what would have been the first pro sports championship for Vancouver since 2011, which was the BC Lions, of course, winning the Grey Cup. But that's going to have to wait. Hopefully we'll be able to make that congratulations in our next episode because game six is on Monday. Game seven, heaven forbid if it goes there, is on Wednesday. But they're both on the road in Charlotte, so those are not going to be easy games either.
no, because the AHL playoffs has a different format. It's like you get two home, well, 2-3-2 format, right? It's kind of
They do.
weird.
They can only do that in the final because of the travel, which for maybe a bonus episode, I could give you a long rant on why I hate that, but that's for another day.
Yeah, I think that they tried that in the NHL in the 80s for a few years, and then they disregarded with that, right?
Yeah, it was like if it was the Pacific and the Central Division playing in the playoffs, then they would let the team with home ice have a choice if they wanted to do that. And yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. So yeah, that overtime loss goal was just a fluky one where it bounced off of two Canucks and in, and that is such a classic Canucks way to lose. So I uh, just a fluky goal like that, and they were playing great in the overtime. It was just then that happened, and just boom, we're back to going back to North Carolina, right? uh, Bojangles Coliseum, which is my new favorite name for a arena. uh,
just
yeah,
sad, sad
just
game.
a sad day for BC sports overall. I mean, I'm not sure how the Whitecaps did if they even play today, but they pro uh, they probably would have lost today if they played today too. But yeah, it was just double sadness, and yeah, we're just left scratching our heads, thinking like, okay,
The
we're
Whitecaps play
okay.
next on Wednesday, so
Yeah,
maybe we'll have a loss to talk about for them too.
yeah, it's just I guess yeah, but I guess we can just get to the gut check for this game. I mean, just a lot of what we said in the last episode really it could apply here to our offense, but it's even worse, right? Because the thumbnail for this video is a classic meme that says our expectations for you were low, but holy beep, right? Holy sensibly, right? Just because Rourke was a game time decision for a while throughout the week until I think yeah the day before the game, and then it was said that Masoli was going to be the starter, and I was going oh boy,
I mean, it's
um
gotten to the point here where playing Winnipeg is basically, we don't usually see this term except in the NHL context, when teams are playing like 3 games in 4 nights. But playing Winnipeg now is basically what I would call a scheduled loss, where like we seem to have no answer for them, so you can basically write it up as a loss before the game even started. Like when Winnipeg scored a touchdown on their first drive, I put in our group chat, "It's over." And you might
It's
think I'm
over.
too negative, but you can just tell
I
that
could
the
just
Lions
tell.
didn't have it.
Yeah. We could just tell. I mean, we've watched this team for a long time, and it just feels like just kind of a hex that Winnipeg has over us ever since we came back against them in 2016, right?
Yep.
Uh, um, I mean, I was told I was being too pessimistic in one of my hockey friend group chats as well, but I was saying like, look, I've seen Winnipeg play BC tons of times, and especially over these past few years, it's already over, right? Like Winnipeg. The most frustrating thing is that Winnipeg won with their backup last time, and then they get Kalawas back, and Winnipeg didn't even play all that great. Right? They played fine, right? They played okay. They didn't really need to like blow the Lions out of the water of 35, 40 points, right? All they
But for
need is
them, fine is good enough.
yeah for them 20 points is good enough. I mean, it felt like 20-3 lead with like a 60-0 lead, right? Just with how their defense was playing, and it was just uh yeah, it was again, it's just we're just happy that both Winnipeg games are over with, and it's yeah and the funny thing is our other co-host Hammer, he's if it wasn't for a wedding he had to attend to, he probably would have watched this game in person.
Oh,
And
thank goodness he didn't have
yeah,
to do
thank
that. I would
goodness
have
he
felt
did not.
sorry,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
sorry for him.
yeah. He's at a wedding too. So uh yeah, he's definitely having a happier time with attending that wedding than just sitting around and just moping about losses today. But uh yeah, yeah, it's basically I could have turned the game off at halftime, and just nothing would have really changed, right? Just but before we decided to do this podcast, like I would have turned the game off at halftime and done something else, right? Just but yeah, but yeah, we're just gonna go into like the nitty gritty of the ugliness of how this game uh panned out, and
The
I
stats
was
are
put
not
it
pretty by any means.
yeah, I was plugging the stats in, and each time I saw just how good Winnipeg's defense was playing, and I was going like, yeah, that checks out every time I pasted stats in there, and yeah, we're gonna start out with BC's stats. So JS, you do the honors since I was doing that last time. So
Well, I don't know if I would really call it the honors, but you know, it is what it is. So I will roll with that. And okay, Jeremiah Mazzoli, he was just okay. He went 25 for 44, which is barely above 50%, 281 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So a pretty pedestrian game for him, only averaging 6.4 yards per throw, which that's not much. So
no,
it's not fully his fault, but it would have been nice to see him kind of light a fire under this team, fire under their butts, but that didn't happen.
yeah, especially after the defense did make some plays to like keep the game uh within striking distance, right? But it was so frustrating to just see drives die instantly. Right? Just as soon as we get like some inkling of momentum and just nothing. Right.
Pretty much, yeah. So then with our running back, Butler had 9 carries for 44 yards. That's just under 5 yards average. So that's not much either. I don't really have a lot to say about most of these players because there was not much to get excited about. Katoy, 4 catches on 8 targets, 51 yards. He did have 1 touchdown. Keon Hatcher had 6 catches on 10 targets for 92 yards. He had 38. He had a 38-yard catch. That was the Lions' longest passing play of the day. McInnes had 9 catches for 94 yards.
Mhm.
Eberhard and Jackson both had 3 catches for 22 yards. And then defense-wise, we only had 1 sack from Hendricks. There were 2 picks, no fumbles, and the guys with the most tackles were Haladic and Williams, each had 5. And with special teams, Sean White was perfect on field goals, didn't have any extra point attempts. And Carl Meyer, the punter, had 6 punts, averaging 51 yards per punt. And then our returner,
Sod Watono in 3 games.
that's just wild. He had 10 returns total, 135 yards, and that was an, where are we going? 135 yards, and that's an average of 24.3 yards per return. So another average game for him. Nothing, the individual yardage doesn't really matter as much as did he have a game-breaking play? Did the return unit have a game-breaking play for the Lions? And the answer, as it has been for quite literally the entire duration of this podcast, is no.
Is an emphatic no. And like this is our third, special teams Watono in 3 games and just nothing's going. Like it's like they're trying to throw stuff at a wall just to see what sticks, right? And I mean, his name's fun. His name's Seven McGee. Like, who names their kid after a number, right? That's
Yep.
a that's an interesting name, but I mean, he really should start putting seventh on the board, right? Just
That would be
you know,
nice.
yeah, with a name like Seven, you expect touchdowns, right? But it's like not with our special teams. You're not getting 7 points on our special teams. You're not. You're better suited for receiving, or right? uh, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just same old complaints. Complaints about the stale offense and just you know ineffective special teams in terms of the running. I mean, the field goal kicking was still fine, but it was pretty much like half our points, which is not good. Right? uh, but I'm going out on a limb saying that's not good. um, but yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, Winnipeg didn't even have their best game. I mean, their best game was the last one with Stravler at quarterback, right? They had like a wider, definitely a much, they have much more points in the first half. I mean, in this game, Winnipeg was just, what especially made me angry was just that they kept toying with us the whole time. Like they make us think that we might get something going, and then just, yeah, that makes me angry more than the loss. It's just, Winnipeg was beatable in this one, right? Uh, and yeah, so Zach Calaro's coming off his suspension. He went 18 for 25 with 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And he had 7.2 average for throw. His longest throw was 48 yards. So yeah, that's a very efficient game from him, but it's not nothing, game breaking, not like 300 plus yards or anything, right? It was just, his first game back after uh, losing in the Grey Cup. I mean, he definitely wanted revenge on the stadium in and of itself, right? Just for losing the Grey Cup, right? Uh, yeah, and revenge, he got it. Him and more, and then we'll see if Winnipeg can beat Toronto twice, right? That's more revenge, but
Yeah, getting a revenge against a different team. I don't really know why the broadcast made that point. To me, at least, that means little. It's the team that matters, or more correctly, even just getting to the Grey Cup and winning the Grey Cup, which they've failed to do the last 2 years, despite being the favorite, right? So,
yeah, and being in a Grey Cup for 5 straight years, and unfortunately, I think it's very likely it could be six, right? Because they'll I get well, they only have a small sample size in beating us twice, but I mean, they look I mean, they were without Brady Oliveira this game, right? And and speaking of running back, I mean, yeah, Matthew Peterson. I mean, he had a great game coming off coming off the bench for the injured Brady Oliveira. But in this one, all he had was just 7 carries for 43 yards, and he had 6.1 on average, and 12 yards was the longest run. Like he was neutralized, pretty well in this one, right? Compared to the last game. That's what makes it so frustrating. Right? Like imagine doing this to Brady Oliver. We would have been like, oh, where was this? Where did this come from? Right?
Literally.
Oh, and yeah, the other running back was Quentin Cooley as well. He had 11 carries for 42 yards as well. So yeah, just running back game was neutralized pretty well, I'd say, and yeah, it was just and yeah, for the receivers, Wheatfall had 6 catches on 6 targets for 86 yards, 14.3 average, and 48 was his longest. I think that pass was the one after Masoli through the end zone interception in the fourth. Yeah, that was the one. uh, had that dagger catch, and that was like even more emphatically over than it already was. Uh,
That's the term I like to say. It's even more over.
yeah, it's so over. It's looping around to saying we're so back maybe for the next game. uh, yeah, so yeah, Stones had 3 catches on 6 targets for 36 yards, no touchdowns, 12 average, and 17-yard catch was his longest. Dalton Shane had 3 catches on 6 targets for 29 yards, 1 touchdown. That was the first touchdown in the game. 9.7 average and 15 was his longest. Closius, I mean, we locked him down pretty good in both games too. He only had just 2 catches for 14 yards. Dem, I mean, we neutralized Dembski extremely well too. Like he's one of the premier receivers, and he only had just the 1 catch, right? But I did put Aso Tui Eli, the O lineman, 1 catch, 5 yards, and a touchdown. That was when that was like near the end of the game. It was just Winnipeg just stunting on us, right? Just like rubbing it in, just twisting the knife in us, right? Like we can beat you with an O lineman, right? I just had to put that in there just for you know you, you rarely see an offensive lineman get a touchdown, and for that to happen, like that late in the game, I was just like really Winnipeg. uh, I can you tell I'm salty?
It's yeah, just we couldn't really stop them, and I don't want to rip the Lions too much. I also think we have to give credit to Winnipeg for being a really really good team too, because
Yeah,
they've
like
had our number for a long time, and you can't. It's not like most of these games weren't even close either, so you can't really say that the Lions, oh, they just missed one or two plays and they lost, right?
yeah, it was just a series of you know the game changing plays that happened to just make the game out of reach for us entirely, right? And just no room for a comeback at all, right? They just and yeah, the defense. I mean, they locked us down pretty good too. Like, BC and Winnipeg's defenses both played, pretty good, but Winnipeg's was the better of the two because even though they only got like the 1 sack and 2 interceptions, the sack coming from Griffin and then the interceptions coming from Holm and Parker, and then there was 2 fumbles on special teams, and I forgot about just the yardage for the special teams wasn't good, and then you get to the gaffes, right? And the gaffes were pretty hefty, right? I mean, we'll get into them in the recap in a little bit, but I just want to finish off the rest. So yeah, Holm got 7 tackles, Parker got 6 tackles, the rest of the team got less than 4. Castillo didn't have to, didn't break a sweat on any. He was perfect in his game too. He went 2 for 2 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points, and his longest field goal was an impressive like 55-yarder from way back though. Right? It was, I think that was the one that made it 10-3, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, but yeah, I mean the kick in chipped in when they can, but really it was all about just it was a defensive battle, really. Um, yeah, and for the punter, Shahan, he got 6 punts. He averaged 46.5 yards, and he had the one punt inside of 10 too. So even in the punting game, I mean, Meyer had a good punting game himself too, but yeah, it's just you don't want to see your punter that much, right? But yeah, Winnipeg's punter was out as much as ours, but he was able to do a little more damage to us than in terms of our offensive drives than the other side, right? So, uh, but I mean, unlike the last game where Vaval just owned us completely on special teams and just made a mockery of us. I mean, he didn't do too much in this one. He only had 5 return catches on special teams, 4 punt returns, and 1 kickoff return. His 1 kickoff return was 26 yards, and he had a total of 66 yards for the 4 punt returns. He averaged 16.5 yards per punt return, and his longest was like 24. So, yeah, just get, yeah. Again, Winnipeg didn't need special teams. They didn't need an all-world offense to beat us, right? Like all they
Like they
needed
were
was
just they were average because there were a number of plays that they could have made more too. The time of possession was almost equal during the game, which shows that the Lions did have their chances, but
yeah, and the penalties were equal as well. I mean, like there wasn't any egregious, missed calls or anything, or
no,
just no, but just
definitely not.
no. Yeah, Winnipeg only had 5 penalties for 43 yards accepted, and then we had 4 out of 4 for 38. So yeah, again, that's another frustrating facet of this game. It's just like the time of possession was very equal. Right? Like BC had numerous opportunities to, make it a game, and they just let Winnipeg keep having it, right? And yeah, yeah. I guess we'll just get straight into like the recap, but I'll probably, I mean, speed through it a little bit here because it's like, you know, it was in some ways it was the same loss as last year, but in other ways there was like even more concerning signs from the offense, right? Just the lack of just effect on anything, right? And this is with Masoli. I mean, Masoli has been a veteran quarterback in this league for a long time, right? And you know, I thought I mean, I know it's one game, but the Masoli signing kind of looks like I mean, he's not maybe meshing well with the team yet. I mean, I'm not sure if he's gonna have the start for next week's game, but I think Rourke is probably gonna come back in. But it's just, you know, I think even in this game, I don't think Rourke would have won this game as well. Right? I think it was
No.
just no.
He's never going to be like the silver bullet that wins us games all on his own. I didn't expect that of him. I don't think it's reasonable for anybody to expect that. And some of the way the mainstream media was talking about him last year, like, oh my goodness, Nathan Rourke is back. We're gonna be fine. I never thought that even in his first season, 2022, he didn't win us. Like we went 12-6, which is good, but like the whole team was a lot better too. And we still lost to Winnipeg in the West Final, right?
Yeah, Winnipeg was just a sort of Damocles moment. It was just, but even before we started this podcast, like every time we played Winnipeg, it was just like, at this point, we're just every year we're just going to expect to lose them, including next year, right? Like, I'm just going to be real. Until we see anything different, like we're just going to expect to lose them every year, every game, right? Uh, Anyways, so yeah, let's go through the first quarter here. They were saying it was, it was summer camp day, and I'd also like to shout out the Easter Seals organization because I went to one of their camps in Squamish for a while as a kid, and I had a lot of fun there. I made a lot of friends, right? uh, Easter Seals is a good place to park your donations for disabled kids to have camping experiences, right? Um, yeah, I mean, I mean, those kids that showed up, I mean, they didn't get a very good game to look at, but I just thought it was notable to mention. Caleros and Masoli both get their first starts of the season, and then Caleros was coming off that one game suspension, and then Masoli was replacing the injured work. The CFL panel before the game, they're trying to hype this game up as a tight game when the realistic Lions fans are going like we're completely deflated, especially after what happened in the last game, right? It was kind of funny, like the dichotomy of like the CFL panel people are just trying to hype this game up as like a marquee Saturday night game, and we're going, but is it really when they just keep destroying us, our hopes and dreams?
Yeah, to have it be a marquee game, you need to have two teams that are relatively evenly matched.
Yeah, like a Winnipeg and Montreal for instance, right? But just that would have been a marquee game, but yeah, unfortunately, the schedule makers do not have like an eye of Sauron or just all-seeing eye or anything, right? But anyways, yeah, Winnipeg returns the kickoff to 38. Clearshot stiff arms and catches on a wideout route to convert for 9. Like on this opening drive, Winnipeg was like dinking and dunking the whole time. For chunk plays, Kalaos was looking sharp early. Wheatfall was catching a bunch. He had one first down conversion where he fell over the line barely just to convert, and then then Winnipeg had a 30-yard touchdown, but it was called back on a holding call, but which was a good thing. Like we thought at the time, because the tackling on that would-be touchdown was very crappy, right? It was very shoddy. Just allowed him to run in, but yeah, thankfully it was called back on holding at the time. But
That was the right call for a holding that clearly impacted the play, and they made the call, but in the end it didn't matter because they scored a touchdown on the
yeah,
same time.
they scored. Like it was first and 20, and normally you're thinking, okay, they can't they can't really get a significant distance on first and 20, but no, first and 20 player was Wheatfall catching for 17 yards on a deep crossing route, and then just Shane catches a perfect throw by Caleros on 2nd and 4, taking an early 7-0 lead. And I and because it was a 4 o'clock game, I usually have my dinners around like 4:30, 5 o'clock. So I took, you know, minimal notes in this. I mean, I was eating as fast as I can just to get back to note taking. But yeah, during my dinner eating, I saw Butler converting on a 3rd down and 2 at midfield to a multiple third and short conversion, including great McKinnis 8-yard catch. I mean, he swiveled around and ran for 8 yards. Abelhart nearly catches a touchdown, but it was defended by Nichols to end the quarter. And then after and then the first play of the second quarter, Parker on Winnipeg deflected the ball, and Couture almost caught a 1st down pass, but it falls incomplete as Sean White hits an easy chip shot field goal to shorten Winnipeg's lead to 7-3. That was like, you know, the first moment on the offense was like, okay, so they were looking good on this drive. They were just short, right? 7-3 game. Okay, we're in business, right?
It's still you still decent shape. You get a response. I think that was the deep shot where they were crying about potentially challenging for DPI, but I'm glad that they didn't. In the end, 7-3 is not bad, right? So we can't really
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah, can't complain about that. I mean, especially at that point in the game where uh and then on Winnipeg's ensuing drive, just peters in, converts them back-to-back 10-yard runs as I finish my dinner. Uh Calero's frozen in double coverage deep and it falls incomplete on second down. Like the ball hit Beaulieu in his backside. Like, it was looking real dicey for that throw, right? Like that was one of many Claros throws that was like really dicey, right? And you know, thankfully there was no DPI on that, so it forced Castillo to kick a 55-yard field goal to extend Winnipeg's lead to 10-3. And then I saw a scrum that happened a little bit after, but apparently there were no flags. So must have been just like a little, how you doing kind of thing, right? And then just they parted ways, right? uh, but here on BC's ensuing drive, Masoli throws the hatch on an RPO play fake to convert on fourth down for 15, and then
And then you get faster.
this this is like I was getting deja vu of the Saskatchewan playoff game a little bit here, but
One of the
this was
most
even
incredible things I've seen in a while.
this was even worse because Masoli is scrambling around in the pocket, and then he throws to his left side towards Butler, and the ball was lined up just a little bit to the left, that it made it a lateral. It hit Butler's chest, dropped down on the ground, and then it like snuck through his legs like a 5-0 goal. And then Parker just immediately just like sees that, runs it, scoops it up, and takes it back to the house. 17-3. And at the moment, I was thinking, okay, that might be called back. That can't be allowed on. And oh my
I
god, it
knew it was a
was.
lateral right away. I could just like some people in the group chats that were telling me, oh, I think that's going to be overturned, but I knew it wasn't because remember, even if it's not backwards, but it's literally going laterally or parallel to the goal line, then that's considered a lateral pass. And those reviews are so difficult to overturn that even if it maybe was going a little forward, they weren't going to reverse it. And in the end, the replay clearly showed it was going backwards. So right call and touchdown. Yeah. But good job for Parker to be alert and keep playing, even though a lot of players would have given up on that one. Very alert on his part.
Yeah, very low. And it was just. And at the end of that little bit there, I said, I'm already calling this game over. Like, how do you come back from that? Right? I even said that in my hockey Discord chat. I felt like I'm starting to regret predicting this team is going second place if they're going to be, losing like that, right? Against good teams. uh, it's really hard to come back from a mistake that bad, right? Like it looks bad, but it was just, um, yeah, that was brutal to watch. That was just there's in seemingly every Lions loss, there's always that one play that just baffles you, like completely, and that was one of them. Right? Uh, so yeah, after that lateral touchdown return, I think that's was probably classified as like a might have been like a fumble return. I think is a lateral touchdown considered a fumble? I think you should be. uh, but yeah. Anyways, so yeah, after that, Carter, no, it was McGee that returned the kickoff. It was McGee the whole way. We had like three different punt returners. Like I was getting confused on who was who, right? But I think it was McGee that returned the kick after the 31. Uh, of course. um, Bonds nearly picked six with like Masoli threw a bad pass, and Bonds like nearly picked it off for a pick six, and that would have been like I would have thrown stuff if that happened, right? Uh, I was very close to like throwing stuff if that pick had happened, right? But it
But you
didn't.
just you just knew that things were not going our way because we had a chance to respond when it got the 10-3 immediately, fumbled, returned for a touchdown. Then right after that, almost throw a pick six.
almost
You
for
just
pick
knew
six,
that things weren't happening, and then we get sacked on the next play,
back on the next play, and then
and then we have to punt. So like,
actually no, it was no McKinnis converted on a catch on 2nd and 10 for 11 to
and then and then
punish
and
them.
then almost, and then like 2 plays later, I think there was a sack, right?
Yeah, 2 plays later there's a sack. Yeah, and there was another two there, and then Laval returns to punt to the Winnipeg 25. Stones catches and converts on 2nd and 6, and Caleros doesn't. And another thing about it was that Caleros had plenty of time in the pocket often, right? Like the defense was not. I mean, as good as the defense played, they were just not getting much pressure on him, anyways, right? It was really just Caleros throwing incomplete passes that kept us in a moment, right? Um, yeah, Clausius catches on 2nd down, but only gains 4 yards, and then Winnipeg just punts. There was a holding penalty on the punt that backed the Lions up to their own 8, and McInnes had a nice hard yak yardage kind of catch to convert for 10 yards, and but yeah, just eventually just does a procedure call, and McInnes is short of a 1st down, an 11-yard catch, and BC's forced to punt. Laval returns to punt quickly for instant field position for the Bombers at the BC 52. And here, and this was the moment where, this woke the crowd up for sure, right? Because
And woke us up.
yeah, woke us up like, whoa, what happened? Because Caleros got greedy. He underthrew a deep shot towards Dembski. That was like one of his 2 targets in the game, but he underthrew Dembski, and Beaulieu picks up Caleros and runs to the BC 50 and goes, oh, great, we have life. And then BC's offense says, nope, we don't have life, because they go 2-and-out after that. Uh, on a well-defended pass to Hatcher, because we can't have nice things ever, it seems, these past 2 games, right? Just uh yeah, just just Mayo punched the ball in a 2-and-out. Winnipeg also goes 2-and-out, so thankfully, just two and out there, and then McGee wants to punt back to midfield, so good field position a couple times, but it was just. But here, and then here, like Masoli overflows on pressure, like it was pressure that he overthrew the ball towards McInnes, and then Lawson picked it off, and Claros is then sacked on 1st down. But yeah, like Winnipeg, it was nearing the end of the first half, and Winnipeg was like waving the white flag. They didn't want to do any more damage than they already did, right?
I think they were
Uh,
also worried about, potentially having the ball turned over or having to, punt and risk. There's always a risk of a punt block. I know we had a couple of plays that were close to punt blocks in this game, so it was good.
yes,
Good on their part, smart to just kneel it down.
yeah, they were just like, okay, let's let's let them have, because in the second half, we had the opportunity in the second half to start the game on a drive. And here, in the 3rd quarter, like McGee returns the kickoff. There was a little fun little moment. He like faked a toss to the other returner, but didn't do much there. It was like that was a little interesting, little bit of creativity there, but you know, just didn't commit to it. But I was hoping he would. Uh, and then here Bonds breaks up a deep shot on 1st down to McInnes. Matholi for the short pass for a 5-yard gain for a 2-and-out. So, I respect Masoli for like going for a deep bomb like instantly, on the first play of the drive, but didn't work out. So Laval returns a punt to the Winnipeg 38. Then Winnipeg goes 2-and-out and an incomplete throw to Clausius. And then we're gonna be on our 4th kick returner probably by next week, because like McGee drops the punt return, and then Winnipeg quickly recovers it at the BC 26, right?
So another turnover, just
Another turnover, right?
right
I
after our
can't
defense had done well to get it to an out.
2-and-out, and
So
yeah, recovered.
it's not even their fault when Winnipeg goes up 20-3 with the field goal.
Yeah, and obviously, even like with a major mistake like that, you just know Winnipeg's going to take a touchdown. And even when they got like a holding penalty, like they still, no, Peterson gets a catch on a first down after a 6-yard screen one. Clausius drops, well, actually, no, it wasn't a touchdown, but it was a field goal. Clausius dropped the catchable ball to force a 37-yard field goal. I mean, it's a 20-3 lead, but like I said, it felt like a 35-3 lead at this point with how the offense was playing, right? um, and again, I mentioned Winnipeg isn't playing all that great, but they're taking advantage of BC's many errors, right? On offense and on special teams. Butler on BC's next drive, Butler ran for 19 yards on first down. That was like the longest play of the game for the team up until the garbage time, which is embarrassing. Uh, Aberhart converts on a 14-yard catch on a curl out, but BC goes no farther on back-to-back incomplete passes. And they were in scoring position here, so Sean White does nail a 43-yard field goal to shorten the Winnipeg lead to 20-6. Right, so the two-possession game. There's still lots of time left in the game, right? I mean, even
And
though we
they
felt,
kept this game that close for a while, which kind of meant I couldn't turn it off even though I wanted to move on and fully invest in the Calder Cup game. I couldn't because a two-score game, we've seen two-score leads get overturned in the last 3 minutes. The Lions lost a game a few years ago in Hamilton when they were up 15 at the 3-minute warning. So like I stuck around even though I kind of knew it wasn't going to happen, but you also had to stick around because it would be irresponsible to abandon the game.
yeah, like the last time, yeah, there's been a couple times in our past that we've been to games and we left thinking it was over, and then like, oh, they actually won, right? uh, uh, but yeah, I mean, in this case, like with a backup quarterback, it was hard to see the comeback happening, right? And especially since Winnipeg goes 2-0 on their next drive, and they were not, they were giving us another chance, and then McGee returned to punt to the BC 32. I put in parentheses thankfully because he didn't flub it this time, right? uh, what's funny is that I don't think Terry Williams ever flubbed a kick return. Right? For as much dirt was slinging on him last year, I don't think he ever fumbled. Right? And we're seeing in back-to-back games the special teams fumbles now, right? Like the special teams is regressing, which is insane, right? not they're not getting they're not getting the no yards and just flubs, right? I uh yes, I have no words. Like it's regressing from an already subpar special teams return unit, right? uh Anyways, yeah, Jermaine Jackson, I mean, he was off kick return duties. He became, like a death wide receiver. He converted on second down for 12 yards, but Hatcher catches a deep shot out of bounds. Well, yeah, he caught a deep shot, but it was out of bounds, so forced BC to punt. Funny thing here is that on BC's punt, Vival actually bobbled the punt, but because the coverage team wasn't there, I mean, he was able to have time to recollect himself and run towards the 35, right? So even when he bobbled, it's like I have time, right? uh yeah, on this drive, Cooley forces Cooley rushes up the middle, convert for 12. Halade nearly picked off Flowers on second down, and yeah, forced him to punt. McGee returns the punt to the 8 for 30.
Another short
And
punt, which is kind of useless.
yeah, useless,
Or
but
short
yeah,
return rather.
short return and useless. And the offense still proved useless here. That Masoli overthrows a couple guys to go 2-and-out. Meyer punted it to 19, and then Dembski, the broadcast was mentioning like his consecutive games with a catch streak with a wrist. So he technically had like a catch. It was like the shortest catch ever, right? Like a little flip pass, right? Just for 1 yard. And he almost had like a butt fumble, right? Like he ran into his own lineman. He almost butt fumbled it. That would have like made my like even if BC would lose, that would have like made my day had he butt fumbled that, right? uh, it would have been like just just a consolation prize. But yeah, anyways, on the last play of the third quarter, we fall is short 3 yards to force a punt in the fourth. And then yeah, the fourth quarter it's a lot shorter, and we'll get to why I decided to cut it off like halfway through the fourth. Because after McGee returned the rolling punt to the BC 38, like this was like the second moment where Hatcher makes an incredible catch over Bonds and Parker to convert for 45 yards to Winnipeg 30. He caught it through double coverage, and like that was one of the rare, highlight reel kind of plays for the Lions, right? That was like but unlike the interception and just beforehand, it's like, I was still not getting my hopes up. And eventually, Jackson has forward progress that converts on second down on a play action pass. An O lineman, Allen goes down the injury, and again, like I said, I didn't get excited, and I was proven right because they're in the red zone. BC scored the touchdown. We're within one with half of the fourth quarter to go, but Masoli gets picked off in the end zone by Holm on an overthrow to Aberhart from pressure from the D line. And
This challenge was so stupid. I don't know why
Buck Pierce, it's a total rookie head coach thing to do.
he didn't
Like
even need to challenge it because the play gets automatically reviewed as a turnover.
you don't need to do that, right? Yeah.
So like that one, don't do it for that reason. Two, even if it wasn't automatically reviewed, you weren't going to win it, so don't challenge anyway. So like two reasons that just made no sense.
Yeah, although I say it's usually a rookie head coach thing to do, but Buck Pierce has been an offensive coordinator for the Bombers for years, right? Like, why would he do that, right? it, and I mean, it was a desperation one, but yeah, that was like instant nail in the coffin. As much as we've had like little tiny nails in the coffin with our failed offensive drives, like this was like the giant stake through the heart of the vampire, right? And Winnipeg basically said, okay, enough's enough. We we gotta we gotta stop this shenanigans and just like score a touchdown because that's what they did. Because Calaros immediately throws deep to Wheatfall to convert on first down for 50 yards, and then Stearns immediately converts on second down to get the goal range, and then finally ices the game properly as Claro throws a touchdown pass, yeah, to the O lineman Ely, just to rub salt in the gaping wound. Right, that is the game. Bombers are stunting on us, right? They're just yeah, we cannot even have our own lineman score on you, right? That's how good we are. Um, yeah, I cease taking notes angrily and I wait for the final score. So, basically, I mean, I watched like the rest of the game, but yeah, I didn't take notes, but I said the final score ends up being 27-14 after Mazzoli threw the garbage time touchdown to Katoy. And Calder got to get his first career interception. I mean, like that's a one positive story out of this game for the Lions defense. It's always nice to see someone get their first career interception, at least. But I said it's like the smallest of positives for an overall. I said an F game, but it was more like a D minus. Like the defense, did their best to keep this game competitive, but the offense was just a total F. Right, nothing happening as the Bombers improve to 2-0 by just strictly beating the Lions, and the Lions fall to 1-2 and fourth in the West. So
But we're still in a playoff spot because of the crossover. We have 2 points.
Yeah,
And on the eastern side, we'd be heading over to play Ottawa if the playoffs started today because with the standings right now, we've got 2 points. Hamilton, third in the East, has 0. So yes, we would be heading to Ottawa for the Eastern semifinal if playoffs started today. But luckily they don't, so there's still time to figure things out.
yeah. I mean, look, like this, like even with work, I don't think they would have beaten Winnipeg at all. But like the way Winnipeg was playing on offense, like it was a very like they looked beatable in this one, right? Like they kept making mistakes too, but just BC's offense just didn't want to do anything much, right? And that's just the frustrating thing about watching these games for a long time. It's just like you're seeing long-term trends from the team that just it's it's not good. I mean, like, things have gotta like I know we're past like 3 weeks in the season now. It's still like early on, but like this is this is already looking like it's bleeding. Like the offensive struggles for now have been bleeding over from how last season ended, and that's not good. Right?
No, it's
Like,
just
but the good news is, I'm not all doom and gloom yet because the good news is I think that our next opponent, which is Saskatchewan on the road, from the games I've seen the Riders play, they've been winning games. Yes, they're 3-0, but their wins have been like extremely volatile. Right, like they needed a Mario Alford kick return touchdown to win their last game. Right, and yeah, the win before that was Hamilton. Like Hamilton was threatening to tie the game there, but they couldn't do it. Right, so they went turnover on downs, but uh, yeah, uh, and the first Saskatchewan game that was also Ottawa almost came back to win that game too. So I do as much as BC's down from these two Winnipeg losses, I do think that if they clean up a lot of these like offensive mistakes, I think Saskatchewan's defense is kind of, you know, not as good, right? Uh, at least, I do think Saskatchewan is due for a loss, right? Would you agree with me on that or no?
I do, yeah. They're especially when the games are pretty close, eventually the coin flip is going to go the other way. Like it's very rare that you're going to see, if you flip a coin, it's 50% heads, 50% odds of tails, right? So eventually the odds that the coin is going to keep flipping your way go down to almost nothing. Eventually, something's going to happen and you're going to lose again because, sports is impacted by luck. We saw that in the Calder Cup final today, right?
Yeah.
Luck is almost certainly not going to go your way all the time. Just like if you go to a casino and gamble, you might win in the short term, but in the end, the house always wins, right? So that being said, Saskatchewan is probably due for a loss. Hopefully, it can happen next week because that would be really good for us.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I mentioned that. Well, first of all, I think I'll talk mostly about the games that transpired between the last Winnipeg game and us. I mean, there was a ton of games that transpired because we had a Thursday game and I think, and then e- yeah, it was Saturday. So yeah, we just like got a lot of games between then and now. So back in week two, Montreal beat Ottawa pretty soundly, 39-18. Yeah, that was just wall-to-wall domination from Montreal. I mean, and I was watching the game with my Red Blacks friends. I have Red Blacks friends, and they're going like they're still saying Montreal is overrated as hell. Right? They're going, "Are you sure about that?" Right?
Yeah,
I don't think they're overrated. I think they're rated. I I mean, well, it's nice to see. Well, I mean, I'll get into a little bit later, but yeah, dominant win for Montreal, 39-18. Calgary beat Toronto 29-19. I think I only saw the second half of that game because I was asleep through the first half, and second half I saw Calgary pull away, and then it was at that point I was thinking, God, the East is not helping us out at all, right? uh, that kind of doesn't bode well, but yeah, just and then it continues with Saskatchewan beating Hamilton 28-23 again. Saskatchewan had a big lead. Hamilton almost won the game, but they just didn't have enough juice in them to win. Like Saskatchewan eked out a win there, and then for this week it was Montreal beating Edmonton 38-28. I watched most of that game, and I can tell you that Montreal was also mostly dominant. I mean, Edmonton made it a game a little bit late, but I knew that Montreal would be winning in the end, right?
Yeah,
There's not a whole lot of in fact, I don't think there's been like any games where it's been won by a last second point change yet, right? It's just been there's been no comebacks yet. I imagine they'll change next week, but we'll see. Uh, yeah, and then Saskatchewan beat Toronto, 39-32. That was a back and forth game. Like Toronto tied it late in the fourth with a 2-point convert to tie the game at 32, and then Mario Alford, like he does a kick return touchdown to take the lead immediately after Toronto tied the game. Like that's
that was just a stunning outcome. I didn't see it online, or I didn't see it in live, and I watched the highlights after, and I was just totally amazed how that happened. Devastating loss for the Argos to lose like that. I know, kind of reminds me of the Canucks playoff game against Edmonton, game four. We tied the game with like a minute to go, and then gave up the winner 30 seconds later.
yeah, that's
Kind of
yeah. I'm
that kind
glad.
of emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's what that also reminded me of. It's like just when you thought you tied the game and you think you're gonna win, and then just the rug is pulled out from underneath you, right? And what's worse, it was yeah. There were a lot of Riders fans at that Argos game, unsurprisingly, right? So yeah, there were again, I'm envious that other teams. Well, Saskatchewan gets to enjoy a clutch kick return touchdown, right?
Yep.
uh, and then the game that happened before our game was Ottawa and Calgary, and this game was like a very tight defensive battle. Ottawa beat Calgary 20-12, but they had a touchdown in the fourth quarter. That was like the only touchdown of the game. Like Ottawa scored off of I think it was um Pimpleton of a really deep shot in the fourth. But yeah, it was just a bunch of field goals. But the reason why it was defensively tight was because the weather in Calgary was miserable. Like it was raining super hard, and it was 8 degrees in June. 8 in June, right? That's like autumn weather. It's not. Uh, yeah, once I saw that the field was, super wet, I knew that game was going to be a defensive battle, and I was proven right. It was like, Ottawa had, field goal leads, and yeah, I think this, well, yeah, again, Vernon Adams didn't play very well. I mean, nobody played very well on offense on both sides, but it was just, you know, I think I can give Calgary the offensive path on this one because again, weather games so just like such a tough, tough time for an offense to get going, right? Uh yeah. I mean, again, I still have yet to see like Vernon Adams' best, but I hope he's not saving it for us like late in the season, which is a long way off. But boy, I imagine he's had those games circled on the calendar for a while. Uh, yeah, so yeah, that's that was what happened in the past couple weeks, and it's the end of week 3, so we got some week 4 games to go over a little bit. I'm gonna do a little bit of
Well, Edmonton, Winnipeg, we don't need to waste our time on that. We already know where that's going.
yeah, that's going to
Let's
that's
just
going to
say,
Winnipeg for sure.
I don't gamble, but if I was a gambler and I bet my life savings on Edmonton and they win this game, I can retire.
Yeah. Although actually, well, if the Elks do upset the Bombers and somehow win on the road, it would continue because, well, there's been 5 straight uh home games that have been won to start out the season, and now it's been 6 straight games won by the road team now. I think actually, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 7 straight games won by road teams now. So it's a weird kind of streak, right? Like 5 straight games won by the home team, and now 7 straight games won by the road. So it's up to Edmonton to keep the road team streak going. Uh, I don't think it'll happen. I think the Bombers will get a home win and go up to 3-1. Uh, that's Thursday night football. So yeah, the Bombers are on a short break, right? So they didn't really have to sweat too much against us, and I don't think they're going to be sweating too much against Edmonton either. Um, yeah, and then we got like the Alouettes and the Tiger Cats. That's also, I think Montreal's got that game too. I mean, unless Boldy by Mitchell can like find like the fountain of youth. um, I think that might also be an easy pick for the Alouettes to win. Yeah, and then we got Argos and Red Blacks on Sunday. Oh yeah, um, Sunday. Yeah, well, yeah, the first Sunday night football game because that's Canada Day weekend, the Canada Day weekend game. So
I
we
would have
don't
loved to
have
see them schedule like a Monday night game that weekend because the Canada Day holiday is on the Tuesday, which that really sucks because we always want to see a game on Canada Day, but Tuesday is kind of not really part of the CFL week. But I would have loved to
no.
see a Monday night game that everyone can stay up late and then sleep in on Tuesday. I would have liked to see that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't. Beggars can't be choosers. So. um, but yeah. Well, anyway, it's the Argonauts and the Red Blacks. So the Red Blacks are coming off, the win on the road against Calgary, so they got a little bit of confidence. But I think Toronto's due for a win. Right? Like
Yeah.
they really should have beaten Saskatchewan, right? If it wasn't for Mario Alford, I think.
But
Just
we do need Ottawa to win so we can stay in that crossover spot.
yeah, we need Ottawa to win though, right? So you know, and then yeah, then our game is on the Saturday, so Saturday, June the 28th. So yeah, against Rough Riders. Most games of this week are at 4 o'clock and 4:30, and then the Elks Bombers game is the latest one at 5:30. So yeah, it's good times for all the Eastern Standard Time CFL fans, but for us, it's like we, know, I don't mind earlier starts, but anyways, yeah. So our game against the Riders, yeah. Again, I just hope that Nathan Work comes back from injury. He's rested up a little bit, and we'll see what he's like in that game. But for that game, we're gonna have you know, a full crew here, right? It's me, JS, and Hammer will be back from
That means we start to see some wins.
hopefully, yeah. Hammer is back home from his field schooling in Europe, and he was doing the wedding today, but yeah, he's gonna be back with us, and hopefully all 3 of us are gonna be able to watch a win next time, right? uh so yeah, that'll be it for us for today's second, like part two of the depressing Winnipeg Blue Bombers loss chronicles. And it's just, yeah, we're done with them. Don't have to see them again for a long time, and hopefully not until next year. But again, I got a funny feeling that we'll be seeing them again this year. But again, BC has to play better than what they're playing like now, because it's not working. So things have got to change a little bit. So
Hopefully they will, because 1 and 2 was realistically, given the schedule, about as good as I had expected out of these teams. So I'm not going to sound the alarm bells yet because of that. The 2 Winnipeg games are scheduled losses. You
mhm.
know, when's our next home? We've got 3 road games in a row. I think, based on who we're playing, if we can win 2 of them, I think that's a reasonable benchmark.
Yeah, uh, yeah, 1 and 2 is not the end of the world. It was great that they got that first win, Edmonton, right? That was huge. So it's keeping Edmonton, it's still keeping them down at last place in the West. But again, I do think that we've got like a tough road schedule ahead of us. I mean, it's got like Saskatchewan and Montreal, right? Those are going to be some tough teams to beat, right? And just to stay above 500, really, if we can win both times, right? But we got to get it done in Saskatchewan first, so that's the focus for next week. So yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you around for next Saturday. Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast. And we enjoy hearing from you in the comments and in our emails, and
Hit us
tweets
up
and
on the social
everything.
media too. I think soon we're going to be launching, or hoping to launch a Blue Sky account. I'm mostly on Blue Sky these days, so I think we'll
Yeah,
be on that.
I think, yeah, we'll do that once we have Hammer back in the fold, right? It would make sense to do that. So, uh, so yeah, but in the meantime, comment down below, or just reach us through Gmail, like our Gmail account, section 214 at gmail.com. So that's SECTIONTWOFOURTEN at gmail.com. And we still got like a Twitter and Instagram in the description. And yeah, then soon a Blue Sky for sure. We're just we're quite busy with our lives outside of this podcast and watching football too. So we get sidetracked a lot. But hey, this was good. This was still good catharsis. Just talking about how frustrated we are about this loss. But hopefully we do a better job next week, and we'll have to. Right,
Low bar to clear at this point.
low to clear. Yeah. Yeah, score more than 14 points next time. Right. That's all we ask.
It'd be nice.
Uh, okay, so yeah, that's going to be it for us today. So we'll see you next Saturday.
Bye.